Money Radio, discussing the business of making and spending money.
Good hot afternoon from the city of Abuja, and if you are in other parts of the world, especially the West, we say good cold morning from Abuja. You're welcome to another edition of Money Radio, and you are on to the tourism segment of Money Radio. We're discussing an interesting topic today, and the title is How Nigeria's tourism industry can attain full recovery post-COVID-19. How Nigeria's tourism industry can attain full recovery post-COVID-19. In the studio to discuss with me are Jerry Emerson. You're welcome. Thanks. Jerry is an in-house analyst. Mr. Kayode Falade, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
He's also an in-house analyst, and we are going to have a guest, the CEO of Motley Tours and Travel. His name is Mark Moore. Mark Moore, you're welcome.
Thank you for having me. Good afternoon,
this is
everyone.
your second or third time on the show, and
well.
always yes, and I'm your host, Case Hammond. So, the tourism industry, the Nigerian tourism industry, annually is worth, pre-COVID-19, was worth 1.2 trillion according to a report. And that is an industry that employs 4 million persons, direct employment. We're talking about attachment industries such as the hospitality, the hotels, the airlines, and the rest of them. And you agree with me that that is one of the major industries that contribute majorly to the country's GDP and employment also. So when we have 4 million persons employed from one industry, it's an industry you can't afford to play with. So post-COVID-19, pre-COVID-19, that was the situation. COVID-19 came and a lot of things were disrupted. And we are, is it right to say post-COVID-19 right now? Because we are still suffering COVID-19. But somehow the economies of the world are beginning to resuscitate. Yes, they are beginning to recover. So, post-COVID-19, what should government do? Before we go to that question, where are we right now? What's the situation in the country?
Well, the pandemic is still on. The situation generally, globally, has not returned to what it used to be. So, the pre-COVID era. But that is not to say that we are stuck at a particular spot. No. The world is moving on, and of course, Nigeria too is moving on. So, I think right now we are in the recovery process. While the pandemic is still on, it is not as bad as it used to be.
Yeah, especially in 2020.
So despite the Delta variant, this variant, or the so-called variants, we are moving on. The world, most world economies are now, they are opening up and they are trying to get back on their feet. And the same goes with our country here.
Yeah.
So I think the position, the particular spot we are now is that of recovery.
All right.
Of course, the countries of the world are strategizing, in dealing with the pandemic. So it's not like everything is stopped, like you said. Things are still happening. Activities are still carrying.
Yeah. So, Mark Moore, welcome again.
Yeah, I'm with you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah. So, you are there out in the field. You see developments, daily developments, I should say, on the state of affairs in the tourism industry. Where are we right now in terms of recovery?
Well, Thank you once again for having me. Now, direct to your questions. When you talk about where we are in terms of recovery, I would say field-wise, I think a lot has really not improved. Maybe not directly to the COVID, except we want to restrict this to the effects of the COVID, but there are other factors that have really come in and has really hindered on the growth and progress of tourism of the tourism industry in Nigeria. So I will tell you, pre-COVID, COVID, and at the moment we are not so much in a good state, so to put, because of these other factors that has come in and is inhibiting movement of people, within Nigeria, exploring places and seeing what options are available for them to have a very great vacation within Nigeria. Yeah. So I would generally, I would say we've gone. There's a plunge really from what it used to be pre-COVID. Yeah.
So, Mr. Bo, we considering that same question, where are we now? Within, people seem to be traveling unhindered within the country. But there are other factors attached to Nigeria's tourism industry that can affect revenue. We talked about hospitality industry, that is the hotels and entertainment spots. And then we talked about airlines. Right now, there is restriction. Take, for example, what one does in Nigeria, or what the policy in the policies in the place like the UK, the US, will affect what is done in Nigeria. So, take for example, the percentage of the Nigerian population that has been vaccinated is still very. There are restrictions on travel for people who have not been vaccinated. That is a policy, both in the UK, in fact, not just in the UK, the EU, the USA, and some other Asian countries, especially the Asian tigers. What do you think?
Well, the restrictions are there. Really, the restrictions are loosening up because America is open now to receive visitors, but then you must be fully vaccinated. Other countries are also relaxing. I think the coming year, 2022, will witness more countries will be relaxed and they'll be able to take in vaccinated tourists into their domain. Now talking about the acceptance of the vaccination amongst Nigerians. You see, the thing is, a lot of Nigerians are still not, in tune with this thing because a lot of them still don't believe it. But take it or not, it's difficult for the government to say you cannot move from point A to point B until you are vaccinated. Recently, we heard in the news where parastatals or ministry government was saying, look, okay, if you're not, you must be vaccinated. If you're not vaccinated, you must produce test results every 72 hours before you are allowed into the government building. So for me, I think that is an indirect way to say you must go get vaccinated. But you see, the thing is, we're in a system where we seem to shy away from a storm in a teacup, and somehow I think the government is also dancing in this tune. If it's a must, if it poses hazard, as it has been shown clearly, that being unvaccinated, you pose great danger to other people, and otherwise, then I think it should be stated. That's talking health-wise. So we need to do more with orientation, national orientation. You cannot really force people because there's an individual belief, an individual acceptance tied to this. So what the government needs to spend money on is the national orientation. The people need to know why this is, best for them. The people need to know that beyond the stories they hear about COVID not being real and all of that, it is in their own interest that they need to take this vaccine so that whatever it is, casualties or infections or people who fall down daily due to this COVID thing will be greatly reduced, and we can move on to every other thing. But the moment, every day we keep talking about this same thing, COVID here, vaccination here and there, people are not even dealing with it. And the government is just moving on as if, look, let's get more vaccines. You are getting vaccines, you are stockpiling these vaccines in warehouses or wherever you're putting them, or you're doing next to nothing, orienting the people why they need to take this vaccination. So it's a dicey thing. And now countries like the US and other Western world have said, okay, fine. You cannot come into our country if you are not vaccinated. So if you feel you have a business to do in America, for example, and other places, then it becomes a must. Now that person has to take the vaccine, not because maybe he or she really believes or he or she really needed to do it, but because it's a condition to be able to travel into America and other countries as the case may be. So that is why I say the government needs to spend money where necessary, orienting the people to let them know why. And if that happens, then you will see that the vaccinations that are being brought in and are being stored or whatever would be on the ground. And the people themselves will spread the news down to the grassroots why their siblings, their younger ones, their friends and relatives need to take this vaccination. Now that is on the health angle. Now let's come to how it affects the tourism thing. You see, we are domestic tour operators, and we'll tell you business-wise to say that, in fact, the less people that can travel out of Nigeria for leisure and other related activities, the better for the development of domestic tourism in Nigeria. People need to explore and see what we have here and all of that. So, but then when this is done, it will have given a boost to the domestic tourism industry. But of course, with the other restrictions, the security challenges, the road infrastructure network, and all of that, those are the key things that made me say earlier that we are still very, very behind when it talks about growth, development, post-COVID era and all of that in Nigeria. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Moore. I'd like to ask, as we move towards full recovery of the industry, what should stakeholders and, of course, tour operators bring on board to support the recovery process?
All right, great. Basically, you see, the recovery process is not tilted to just the tour operators. You mentioned something. I was just trying to put my answers in perspective. I recall you talked about the airlines, the hotels, and all of that. And I think this question, I'll be able to address that here. You see, it's a synergy. Tourism is a synergy of different components, and the airline play a very vital role. The transport companies play vital roles. The hotels play vital roles because these are the places people would stay when they visit, and for them to move around. If the road has become unpassable due to security concerns, now the airline come into play. But then the thing is this: you see, somehow we have not really tried enough to build synergy in businesses in Nigeria. Now, the airline doesn't want to know, for example, if this is a season for people or create an avenue for people to explore, move from their base to other places and see things. I give you an example. December is a high peak season, and I know that the aim of every business is to make profits and make money. But then the thing is, if you had the right synergy and the right things in place, the airline should know that, okay, look, they have to work hand in hand with the tour operators. The hotel managers need to know that they need to work hand in hand with the tour operators, with the travel agencies, because these are the drivers of traffic, moving people from one place to another. So at the moment, we really don't have that. I give an example again. December, Cross River State basically is still at the moment, a high point of travel for people in December. And I can tell you that, with specifics to Obudu, over a month ago, or since over a month ago, going to 2 now, all flights, you can verify, don't take my word for it. All flights into Enugu is the closest airport to Obudu today as we speak. All flights leading to Enugu over a month ago, going to 2, are sold out. Now, that could be because, that is because, not enough carriers on that route, plus the fact that prices are unnecessarily, even before being sold out, prices are unnecessarily being hiked. So how does this help the tour operator? If you're packaging a trip or a tour to Cross River State, for example, or to Obudu, for example, and over a month ago, no more flights to get people to Enugu, the closest airport, what happens? Now the roads are not enticing. The roads are not anything close to what people really want to voluntarily get into to go from point A to point B because of the challenges we have. Now, what happens? People are forced. People are mandated, or it becomes, vacationing becomes uninteresting because they now see stress, more of stress in it. So they are bound to just fall back in their comfort zone. Nobody is moving. The peak seasons that are supposed to be busy with beehive of activities, nothing is happening because people cannot move due to unnecessary high cost, or unavailability of means to travel. Now come to the hotels. The hotels don't want to know, for example, and this is a bad practice. I'm calling this out for people to see. I give an example with Cross River State, for example. You want to book hotels. You're having something. We know that this December hotels are booked in Cross River State, Calabar, and all of that. But you go to hotels. Look, I want to make bookings for X number of rooms and all of that. They tell you, sorry, they cannot give you a price now until December. And when it comes to that December, prices of hotel accommodation doubles. Now, when that happens, as a tour operator or as tour operators, are you supposed to wait till December before you put out a package when you know what the hotels are going to charge? How do you sell? How do you promote your packages when you are not sure of anything? So the synergy that is highly needed in this industry, I am sorry to speak, is still very, very much unavailable. And that awareness needs to be in place. The relevant agencies, the relevant association need to dig into this and see how this works. Not talk about transportation, ground transportation, for example, of course. People they can't fly, but they need to go by road. Now, the transporters, I can't remember, the last I know, fuel price is still between 161 and 165 naira per liter. But it comes to December, and a place you normally will go with a coastal bus, for example, and you are paying as much as 300,000 or 350,000. But because it is December, you are being asked to pay as much as 850,000 naira. So tell me, where do we go from here? So if your interest as a service vendor is solely for you and not in the interest of the larger industry, there is a problem. That is what needs to be addressed.
Problems. When we come back, we want to take a breather now. We want to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to task you to give us some ways forward in solving the myriads of problems we have in the recovery of the tourism industry after COVID-19. So please stay with us. Stay with us, viewers, for a short break.
Money Radio, discussing the business of making and spending money.
Welcome back, viewers, and welcome back to you, Mr. Kylie Faraday.
Thank you very much.
Jerry Emerson. Yeah, I'm still your host, and we are having a guest on the show today, Mark Moore, the CEO of Motley Tours and Travels. So, Mr. Moore, thank you for staying with us. You were listing a number of problems faced by operators.
You.
Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah, I can hear you now.
All right. So, you were listing a number of problems faced by you operators and how to get this tourism industry back on track pre-COVID-19, as it were. So, pre-COVID-19, it was at least to a level pre-COVID-19, and then post-COVID-19, how do we get it back? And you were listing a number of problems. So, what's the way forward?
Yeah, all right. Sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we're hearing you.
Okay, great. Sorry, I had to switch devices. Okay, now you see, the thing is, the way out of all of this is we need to get serious with tourism in this country. And getting serious with tourism in this country, we need to get the stakeholders to the table. We know that business is in the center of everything we're talking about. But our actions should be geared and tailored towards the greater interest of tourism in Nigeria, beyond individual or sectorial interest. So when we have this talk, recently I got involved in the Africa Free Trade Continental Trade Agreement, Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement, and part of the issues were policies, surrounding the activities of tourism in Nigeria, and you discover that countries come together to make offerings for tourism in their countries. Nigeria is nowhere at the table. You get to see things. Although this may be some technical details, but when it comes to Nigeria, you see none, no restrictions, nothing. But the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement hopefully will be able to give a policy drive, some kind of projection that Nigeria is getting ready and getting serious for tourism. And this agreement discussions, of course, involves the airlines, the transporters, the hoteliers, and all of that, the associations responsible for all of these tourism agencies. So we need to get serious with this conversation and not just treat it with kid gloves. When we come to the table, the airlines need to know that, look, the tour operators are very vital. Take it or leave it. The tour operators are very vital in tourism promotion in Nigeria, and you cannot wish them away. So this synergy has to work. The airline needs to know that, okay, look, this is a tour operator. We know of your relevance. We know what you can do. Okay, for example, an average price from Abuja to Lagos is XYZ. You travel with the numbers. Okay, we can give you group fares. Group fares are fares that are given to people who are traveling in groups, especially if, arranged by tour operators. This is one. For the hotels, there is something called the standard tour operator rates. I bet you 0.001%, if that, I can say that, of hotels in Nigeria are even aware that there's anything like that. Would you want to blame them? Maybe not. Maybe you want to blame the association, tourism association, who are not championing the cause of this tour operation development in Nigeria, but rather pursuing other things. So exactly. So this conversation need to be brought to the front burner for media houses, people who do their best to try to want to support tourism. It's good enough, but we need to drum more beyond the talks. What are the actions? I mean, what are the things that needed to be done beyond the political talks and all of that? It doesn't take us anywhere. So these things, we need, the tour operators need the support of
We're sorry, we lost.
When you have things running for you.
Okay.
Am I still? Yeah. Yeah, I'm here. Sorry, it was a call I was trying to.
You were saying the operators need the support of, and then the line went off.
Yeah. The tour operators need the support of all participating agencies, business parastatals, private individuals, like media houses and all of that. We know that, look, if you, for example, you guys know that in February there's a festival somewhere, in August there's an Osun Osogbo festival. We need to drum these things out, because when you arouse people's interest, when that awareness goes to the public, for example, people come to your podcast, people come to they take your papers, they watch your TV series and in August they know that something is happening in August. You know that you project it and all of that. Then the tour operators, of course, there's a buzz. There's a whole lot of buzz around this. Okay, we can have a few packages around this, and they sell. So the people are aware, and they can easily tap into this thing from various tour operators. For a situation where the tour operator is struggling, does not even have a fraction of the marketing budget to promote a destination where you get no thank you from anybody anyways. After all, you're doing your business. By the end of the day, you are promoting a destination that does not even know if you are there or if you exist. So the tourism associations need to sit up on their game. Get these things out. Let the people know that we want to promote tourism in Nigeria, and you cannot just have arbitrary raise of your fees or your whatever it is, because it's a peak period and people have to travel. We understand. There's no doubt saying you make money, but when it comes to tour operation, please, we need to be steady. Consistency is very, very great in this thing. I will not sell a product for 5 naira in November, and because it is December, because I know there are a lot of people who will come and I want to sell for 50 naira. Selling for 50 naira reduces the number of persons that might patronize me. But if I raise it a little percent above the 5 naira that I sell, I'll get more numbers and make much more than the 50 naira per person I think I want to sell. So that is it. And the government, of course, also has a huge stake in all of this. Let us leave politicking. Everything doesn't have to be politics. Let us promote professionalism. Let us promote technicality. So let people who are in their field know that, okay, yes, there's value for what they offer. They're not afraid that tomorrow something is going to change or jump out. So that is it. So the airlines, the hotel managers, the tour operators, the travel agents, and all of that. Do you even know that there's even some kind of difference between a travel agent and a tour operator? That is another angle, another internal thing that needed to be taken care of. Some persons, you see, travel and tours, travels and logistics and all of that. You see one person carrying the cap of other different things, but meanwhile, different people are supposed to do. A tour operator packages the tour. Now, when you want to sell to people, to the general public, there are thousands of travel agencies. Now, you make that brings us to distribution channels. We cannot thrive if we don't improve on our distribution channels. And these channels including inbound tour operators, travel agencies, retail travel sellers, and all of that. But then you have a situation where everybody wants to be the tour operator, everybody wants to be the travel agent, everybody wants to be the tour guide, everybody wants to be all sorts and all of that. And then the people who are supposed to synergize with us may not take us serious. So that is why we need to really get a lot of things defined. It is necessary and unavoidable that we come to the table and synergize in the greater interest of tourism in Nigeria.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moore. And I particularly enjoyed the points you've made. I enjoyed the points you've made because this time there was no pointing of fingers at the government. It's like you are blaming the association or the stakeholders.
It's everybody. Yeah, everybody.
Yeah. We appreciate you so much for that, and we appreciate your wealth of knowledge on this issue. I'm sure our viewers enjoy listening to you. So we hope that you'll be able to on our invitation some other day, and hope that
Anytime.
that you come and join us here in the studio. That's the much we can take today. Thank you, Mr. Moore. Thanks.
Thank you so
Thank you.
Thanks, Jerry. Thanks to you, our producers, and it's been a nice time having you follow us today. I'm your host. Mommy Radio comes up.
For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.